What would you do if you had one last day to spend with the girl of your dreams? A young businessman, Ian, faces this problem as he loses his girlfriend Samantha in a car crash, only to wake up and realize that he has one more chance. We see the protagonist in the opening scene, a handsome young businessman Ian, who has lavish brown hair and ocean blue eyes. He is awakened by his girlfriend Samantha, a beautiful girl with short brown hair and big brown eyes, who is a violinist. Ian has an important meeting he has to attend, but Samantha wants to have a romantic morning with him. Telling her that he has to prepare for the meeting, Ian gets followed around by Samantha, begging him to come to her mother's wedding in Ohio. She gets upset once he lets her know that he won't be making it to the wedding, so she drops the conversation to get ready for the day. Ian seems to be neglecting his girlfriend while she's a loving and supporting partner. While preparing breakfast for him, Samantha accidentally burns her hand on the hot kettle, so he helps her out with it. Walking to work, Ian tells Samantha that he has made a reservation for dinner at 7 p.m. Looking at him confused, Samantha hopes that he is joking. Ian, being confused as well, asks if there's something he should be aware of. He realizes that he is a bad boyfriend after Samantha reminds him that she has her graduation concert she's been practicing for 3 years, at 7 that night. Being the caring girlfriend she is, Samantha brushes the situation off and wishes her boyfriend good luck in the meeting. When Ian leaves Samantha to go to work, some guy on a motorcycle hits her with a cup of coffee, missing the trash can next to her. Returning back, Ian tries to fix the situation, but Samantha tells him to go so he wouldn't be late. On the way to work, Ian practices his speech and, while getting it wrong, hits his hand on a lamppost. Looking at his hand, he realizes that he had broken his watch. Coming into work, he asks her assistant to push the reservation to 9 p.m. and asks for her to purchase a red sweater for Samantha. Knowing more about Samantha than him, his assistant lets him know that Samantha has purchased a sweater like that already. Samantha goes back home to practice and, while doing so, sees Ian's notes and thinks the worst. Not wanting her boyfriend to botch the interview, she rushes to deliver the book to him. Getting into the hotel, she runs up the stairs until she's made it to the conference room. She doesn't want to interrupt, so she asks the waiter to give Ian the notebook. The waiter refuses to get it as it's not allowed for him to interrupt a meeting, so Samantha has no choice but to go in herself. Seeing Ian reach for his suitcase, she enters the room. Ian turns around and she realizes that he is holding the same notebook she has. Everyone's attention is now on Samantha. Wanting to fix the situation, Samantha starts going on about how it's her fault for interrupting and how Ian deserves the job more than anyone. Ian gives her the look and Samantha finally leaves. She is embarrassed and complains to her friend that she talks too much. Going to work, Samantha forgets about the awkward situation as she's surrounded by what she loves, music and children. Being optimistic, she encourages all the kids to play the violin together, but it ends up sounding horrible. Unfortunately for Ian, he doesn't get the job and complains about it to his friends in a pub. One of his friends tries to flirt with a girl there, but she rejects him in a rather rude manner. Everyone starts laughing, including Ian, who almost gets cut by the sharp glass pieces after his friend hits the beer glass with a billiard ball. Getting a call from Samantha, Ian exits the pub but doesn't answer her call. Samantha and her friend spot Ian walking down the street and entering a travel agency. Wondering why he entered a travel agency, Samantha assumes that Ian will come with her to Ohio as part of his surprise. Little does she know that her heart will break once she finds out the truth. 7 p.m. comes and Ian rushes to get to the concert. A black taxi approaches him and he stops it to enter. Sitting in the taxi, he is weirded out by the driver as he seems to know everything about him and Samantha. The taxi driver asks what the problem is and Ian doesn't want to talk about it first but opens up to the driver either way. Admitting to feeling like he can never make her happy, Ian asks what is the right way to love someone. The taxi driver lets him know that loving her is most important, but Ian reveals that she will be away from him for 2 weeks as she's going to her mother's wedding in Ohio. The driver asks Ian to imagine seeing her for the last time after she gets on the plane. Will he be able to deal with that? Ian admits that he wouldn't be able to, so the driver advises him to appreciate her and what they have, and to just love her. Looking at his surroundings, Ian lets the driver know that there are 2 more blocks to his destination, but the driver points to the flower stand outside, reminding him that he can't show up empty-handed. Samantha gets ready for the show with her best friend by her side. Her best friend calms her down and wishes her good luck before going to her seat. The show begins and Samantha does well all throughout. Focused on her violin, she manages to play it out with no mistakes. After the show is over, Samantha searches for Ian at the after party. Spotting him, she runs up to him, giving him the biggest hug. He rushes her to dinner, not wanting to miss their reservation, but as they're about to leave, Samantha gets stopped by one of her students. Hugging her student Oliver, she is more than excited to see her student support her in what she does. Little Oliver admits that he loves Samantha and jokes about wanting to be a few years older to be with her. Laughing at his wittiness, Samantha hugs the little boy once more and he hands her a bouquet with a note in it. She shows Ian the card but he isn't interested in it and reminds her that they have a dinner they need to get to. Oliver's father reads the room and reassures Samantha it is alright as they have to leave as well. At the dinner, Ian lets Samantha know that he is screwed as the interview had gone bad and he didn't get the job. Samantha apologizes for interrupting the meeting, but he cuts her off and changes the subject, asking about what's new. She reveals that her best friend will be having an art exhibition at the Zinn Gallery the following day. Noticing that he is uninterested, Samantha invites him for a dance, but he rudely declines. Trying to keep the conversation going, she asks him where he had been in the afternoon as he didn't answer one of her billion calls to him. He admits not wanting to hear from anyone and turning his phone off. He had walked around the city thinking about their relationship and whether they were going to make it. Samantha drops her look and Ian realizes that he said what he meant differently. Ian admits to wondering what to do about their situation, but meeting the taxi driver made him realize that even though they have problems in their relationship, they share a lot as well. He should appreciate their time more because, despite their problems, he adores her. Looking at him after hearing all the nonsense, she admits that she doesn't want to be with him anymore. The only reason for her to stay in London would be him, but their relationship isn't special enough for her to stay. Not wanting to talk about his feelings, not wanting to meet her parents, forgetting her graduation, and being rude to Oliver are just some of the problematic things Ian does that hurt Samantha. She admits she feels like a second priority to him and it hurts. Admitting to getting used to it, Samantha wants to leave before it gets worse. She wants one day when their relationship means more than anything. He claims that he adores her, but she cuts him off by saying that she wants to be loved, before getting up and leaving. Coming back, she asks him about the travel agency and he reveals that he is going to Johannesburg for business. Realizing that her hopes were for nothing, she leaves as tears fall down her eyes. Running after her, he stops her before she closes the taxi door. Begging her not to do that to him, he hears the driver asking whether he'll get in. Looking at the driver, he realizes that it's the same one that drove him to the concert. Confused and not knowing what to say, Ian looks at the clock that strikes 11 once Samantha closes the door on him and the taxi drives off. The car stops at a red light nearby, so Ian takes one more chance to get Samantha back. Running to the car, he calls out her name, but the car moves before he could even get close to it. Unfortunately, the taxi gets hit by another car coming from the side. Watching in horror, Ian falls to the ground in disbelief. Coming back to his senses, he runs to the car screaming Samantha's name. Samantha is rushed to the hospital where the last thing she sees is Ian crying and reaching out to her, before passing away. Devastated, he falls to the ground, sobbing to himself. Sitting in the lobby, he gets approached by Samantha's best friend who comforts him with tears falling down her cheeks. He admits that he wanted to be with her and doesn't want to believe what had happened while sobbing. Making her cry, she hugs him, wanting to help his pain. Coming back to their apartment, he looks through Samantha's stuff and finds something interesting. Her diary in his hands, he reads about the first time she had met him. Furthermore, he finds a song she had written about their relationship. Smiling to himself, he opens the paper to see the notes and lyrics of the song. Beautiful lyrics filled with kind words about her feelings in the relationship and the process of it. Ian realizes that Samantha loved him a lot, hugging the diary. He lays his head on her pillow, falling asleep immediately. Ian wakes up the next morning, only to see his watch perfectly fine. Confused, he stares at it, being sure that he broke the glass of it the previous day. All of a sudden, he hears a familiar voice. Turning his head to the side, he sees Samantha laying next to him, which makes him fly off the bed in fear. She tries to calm him down, but he moves away from her as he can't believe that it's really her. Approaching him slowly, she hugs him and he realizes that she really is there. She says the same thing she has said the previous day about how she's going to miss him while being away, so she suggests he comes with her to Ohio. Terrified, he moves away once again, claiming that he can't come, and she understands as he has an important meeting. Running to her, he claims that he already had the meeting. Thinking that it's stress about the meeting, she calms him down by assuring him that everything will be okay. She tells him to sit down and he realizes that he is experiencing déjà vu as the same events from the previous day are happening. She had bought him a jacket to wear for the interview, but Ian knew that because it happened the previous day. Confused, he tries to tell her the truth, but she cuts him off by suggesting they have breakfast. While getting ready, Ian realizes that Samantha burned her hand the previous day while making breakfast, so he runs to warn her but realizes that she had gotten a cloth for it. Pretending like he was just worried for her, he kisses her head and returns to the bedroom to finish getting ready. Unfortunately, fate can't be escaped and Ian realizes that as Samantha burns her hand on the curling iron later on. Being hopeful that he can bend the future, he suggests they take a different route to work that day. He convinces her to take a different path as he claims that it could be fun. While walking, he sees the same motorcycle from the previous day, so he grabs Samantha, standing in front of her to prevent her from getting hit by the coffee. Looking at him weirdly, she asks for an explanation, but he lies about the motorcycle being too fast. Before they continue walking, a guy bumps into Samantha and spills his coffee on her. Realizing that the previous day hadn't been a dream, Ian admits to Samantha that he had known about the events because they happened the previous day. Trying to calm him down, she lets him know that he might be experiencing déjà vu. He claims that it's not déjà vu, so she helps him remember what happened in the dream. He reveals that he had broken his watch on the way to work, so she suggests walking with him to the office to see whether the watch would break. They get to the building and Ian checks his watch. To his surprise, the watch is completely fine, so he brushes it off and assumes that it was just a dream. Samantha wishes him good luck and before she leaves, reminds him of the concert and lets her know that he will be there. Same as the previous day, he asks his assistant to push the reservation to 9 p.m. and to find a gift for Samantha. Trying to find the answer to his situation, he asks his assistant whether she's ever had a dream where everything is similar to the following day. She advises him to listen to his dreams as she thinks that they're important. The meeting starts and Ian does great, but he can't seem to shake the fact that Samantha might be coming anytime, as he makes sure to watch the entrance door. Heading to his suitcase, he approaches it slowly in fear of Samantha bursting in. Once he realizes that she won't be coming, he freely gets the notebook and speaks with a smile on his face. Coming to the front center of the table, he continues presenting his ideas to his partners. Samantha does come to bring his notebook but sees him holding the same one, so she leaves. He doesn't know that as he doesn't see her behind him when she comes. The waiter enters the room and Ian thinks his suspicions were right as he yells out that he knew that it was going to happen. Everyone looks at him confused and Ian apologizes as he knows that his meeting isn't ruined. Confidently, he continues his presentation, which lands him the job. Excitingly, he goes to the pub to celebrate with his friends. He tells his friends all about the thing that's happening to him, but they discard it as a déjà vu as well. He is telling them about how he knows what's going to happen when his friend approaches the same girl from the previous day. He gets rejected once again and Ian claims to know about it happening. He catches the billiard ball that was supposed to hit the beer pint when he realizes the purpose of the situation. Getting into a taxi, he sees the same man from the previous day. Baffled, he tells the man that he had driven him the previous day. The man knew certain things about Ian's love life and he confirms it by saying the same things he said the previous day. Ian realizes that there's nothing to do about it and there is no way of changing the events that are going to occur throughout the day. He asks the driver whether Samantha's going to pass away at the end and if there's anything to prevent that from happening. The driver turns around and repeats the same words: appreciate her and your time with her, just love her. Knowing that he doesn't have much time, Ian runs to find Samantha. He goes to the school where she works, looks for her and her student Oliver but has no luck there. He looks for her in the streets and even mistakes her for another woman. Coming back home, he looks through her planner and finds out that she's with her best friend Lottie. Getting into Lottie's building, he heads to her apartment and bangs on the door. Causing a scene with loud bangs, a man asks Ian whether he can help him. Realizing who this man is and what he represents sends shivers down his spine. The man is named Oliver and he says the same words little Oliver had said the previous night. Coming back home once again, Ian tries hard to figure out where Samantha is. A big blue poster catches his attention and he realizes that she is at the Zinc Gallery helping Lottie with her exhibition. Ian arrives at the gallery and pulls Samantha out of it, claiming that things from the previous day are happening, and he needs to take her out of the country. He takes her to the station where he lets her choose their destination. Sitting on the train, Ian finds his surroundings familiar. He realizes that they're going to his home village and Samantha admits wanting to meet his parents. She wants to see where he had grown up, where he went to school, and where he played football, where he became the man she loves. Ian kisses her hand in confirmation and that brings a smile to her face. Going through the mountains, Ian tries to show Samantha where he would usually sit as a child, to read and think. However, the rain gets in the way and they're forced to camp in the shed nearby. Getting into the shed, they hug each other to get warmer and Samantha asks Ian to tell her about his parents. Avoiding talking about them, he asks her to enjoy their movement and not to think about anything else. While trying to light up the fire, he hits his hand on the wall and that confirms his suspicions even more. Lifting his shirt up, he sees the watch's screen broken and the time stuck at 11. Ian now knows that he has until 11 at night to make things right. Tears fill his eyes as he stares at his beautiful girlfriend, knowing that the end is inevitable. Looking out the window as tears fall down his cheeks, he asks Samantha what she would do if she knew that it was her last day on Earth. Joking at first but later admitting, Samantha claims that she would spend her last day being with Ian, enjoying each other's presence, doing nothing. Closeness, intense closeness, sharing things with each other, silly things, and difficult things, are the things she wants and the things she claims would keep their relationship going. Staring deep into her eyes, he tells her that he loves her. She kisses him and they make love in front of the fire. Enjoying each other, they lay on the ground cuddling when Ian decides to finally let her know about his roots. He takes her to the village and shows her the places he used to spend time at. Entering the pub, Samantha is amazed to see a picture of Ian and his father on the wall. Ian viewed his father as a hero, despite his alcohol addiction. He was determined not to be like him and to let others control his life. The only thing he regrets is not being able to help his father, as watching him dissolve in front of his eyes was very painful. He loved his father a lot and Samantha assures him that wherever he is loved. She claims that death doesn't put an end to love and that puts a smile on Ian's face. She wonders why he never opened up to her and he admits not wanting to feel any of the pain he had felt. Not wanting the day to end, he tries to convince her to not go back to London and to travel somewhere else. Samantha smiles and claims that she would never let all of her work go to waste after doing it for such a long time. Returning to the city, an idea pops into Ian's mind, so he decides to surprise Samantha with one last thing. They get onto a ropeway which shows the whole city of London. Scared of the height, Samantha isn't sure about getting on, but Ian assures her that he will be with her the whole ride. Samantha feels like a princess as the day has been perfect for her. She thanks him for the wonderful day he planned for her. They finally get back to the apartment and get ready for the concert. Ian admits that he would rather not go to the concert but stay in the apartment listening to her singing. He asks her why she isn't letting herself out of her comfort zone. It is unclear to him why she isn't singing to the public, as there's nothing to be scared of being as talented as she is. She claims that she will be singing her songs one day, someday. Looking at her notebook, Ian gets an idea. Grabbing the paper of her notes and lyrics, he lies to her that he has something to take care of at the office. Promising to come back in time, he rushes out of the apartment ready to change his girlfriend's life. He prints 75 copies of her song and buys her a bracelet along with a bouquet of flowers. Going up to the conductor, he asks him for a favor that would begin Samantha's career. He gives flowers to one of Samantha's colleagues to deliver to her. She gets the flowers as she sits down, but the note is what surprises her. On the note, Ian has written, "One day, someday is here," which she doesn't realize the meaning of. What is to be the last performance of the night finishes and Samantha is ready to leave, but her colleague flips the note page only to reveal her song on it. At the same time, Ian gets on stage and lets the audience know that Samantha will be performing her composition. Terrified, she stares at the mic Ian's handing her before agreeing to perform. Naturally, she starts kind of shy, but as the song progresses, she lets go and sings from her heart. Finishing the song, she looks at the audience, unsure whether they liked it or not. But she gets the answer she wants as the crowd gives her a standing ovation. Smiling, she runs to Ian, who gives her a hug and makes her nervousness go away. They go to dinner after the concert and Samantha can't stop talking about what he had done. He compliments her, calling her amazing and natural, but she thinks that he is biased. Instead of going to the reservation, Ian lets Samantha choose where they would have dinner, and they go to a cozy restaurant. Samantha admits to thinking that he would hate it, but he assures her that it's his style. She admits to coming to his meeting but leaves after seeing him with the notebook in his hand. Ian smiles at her as he is reminded that the end is near, but doesn't let it get to him as he hands Samantha the bracelet. A bracelet with many charms sits on Samantha's hand. A musical note and a violin represent Samantha's passion. A flower with crystals doesn't have a sentimental meaning, but it was as exquisite as Samantha is. A little train charm represents their trip to his home village, the Eiffel Tower she always wanted to see, and a frying pan because she is the only one that can flip pancakes. The last charm brings tears to Samantha's eyes. It is a heart, and Ian claims that it's his heart to her. They run to catch the taxi after dinner, but they miss it by a little. Looking at the sky, Ian realizes that he has a few more minutes with Samantha before the next one comes, so he tells her how he honestly feels. It is important to him for her to hear his words. He admits loving her ever since they met, but didn't allow himself to feel it until that day. He admits to making decisions out of fear, but ever since he met her, his life has completely changed. He claims that she is the reason he knows love and is thankful to her for showing him what it's like to love and to be loved. She leans in and they share a passionate kiss. After doing so, a taxi pulls up in front of them and Samantha gets in. Knowing that the time has come, Ian gets into the taxi, fully aware of what's about to happen. Just like the previous night, the taxi stops at a red light, and when 11 p.m. strikes, it moves. Ian kisses his girlfriend for the last time and protects her as a car hits the taxi. Lottie rushes to the hospital with tears in her eyes. But this time she sees Samantha alive and well on the hospital bed. Samantha can't help but feel guilty about his passing. She feels bad for not believing him despite his trying to convince her the previous day. His last words hurt her now that she knows that he was telling the truth. We see Samantha 6 months later in their apartment. Sitting around boxes of stuff, she stares at the now broken watch Ian used to wear. She revisits all the memories and places they used to go to, and it inspires her to write a love song. Ian's gesture jumpstarts Samantha's career as she performs all around London. A beautiful song about the love story between her and Ian echoes through the bar as Samantha performs with Lottie by her side.